You call yourself a man? You know you're a lying, low-life, motherfucking gambling degenerate prick. You know that's what you are?
Well, hello you degenerate fucks, and welcome to The Degenerate Gambler. It's actually Friday the 27th of October, so apologies for the late episode, but as I said on Twitter, I've had a really fucking long week. I just haven't had a chance to record. I've had the bet pick since Wednesday, so the prices that I'm going to give you may have came in if you're like me and you like to do the bet early to get the best price. But yeah, I'll just quickly go over last week and then give you the stats and then give you this week's two bets. Bets were unlucky last week. Both bets were quite unlucky. I did manage, as some of you saw, I had like £2.50 or something in a Ladbrokes account and I done a German bet. So I actually shout out to Zuni there because he always does a German bet, and I just thought, I'll stick it on, see whatever, do a wee bet in the German games, and it came in, it won me like £30 something, whatever, so it kind of covered the weekend, which is good. But I also got my bet syndicate bet up for me and the boys in work. If you're a new listener or you don't know, I've done episodes on the bet syndicates before, so you can go back and listen to them about how they work and how it's a good way to save money and just have a bit of crack with your mates in a WhatsApp chat or whatever. But yeah, so that's the second bet I've done this year, and I've hit both of them. So I'm the only one that's put any money in this year. So I had a bit of fun, teasing and giving a bit of stick, as I would say, to my mates that basically I'm, carrying them on my back. Anyway, so as I say about the own bets, so I had a bit of luck there because Portsmouth scored very late and so did Middlesbrough, and I was waiting on Portsmouth to get the syndicate bet up. But the main bet was Middlesbrough, who won 1-0, United won, Bolton won, Portsmouth won, and then West Brom was 0 each. So that's what beat it. West Brom drew 0 each at home. The overs bet, so Bradford Burnley was up, Oxford Blackpool was 1 each, so just the one goal. Salford Swindon was up, Eastleigh York was up, and then South Shields Kings Lynn was 2-0, so one goal. So 2 goals altogether, 2 games with 2 goals, so very unlucky. I didn't fancy much for the evening, so I did like a bit of a convoluted treble with, like a bet builder treble. The Arsenal part of it was beat. The Sheffield United was up, and Real Madrid Seville was beat. So it wasn't a great bet. I didn't fancy much. Then on Sunday I had some money lying that had won. I had good wins on my free spins with William Hill. William Hill, by the way, if you are listening to this on Friday or Saturday, they're offering a free £5 bet. So get on and collect that. But I did 8 fold over 1.5. 6 were up, but it was one of the early games that beat it, so it was there was no sweat. It was a shit bet. Then I did 2 more bets, a bet builder and a bet for the sort of afternoon games. Where only two teams let it down. So I had Celtic. I think I had Celtic plus over 1.5, which was up. Atalanta was up. Austria Vienna, both teams' score was up. Ludogorets beat it, and Gladbach or draw beat it. And actually, that's a few places I would look on for, who's back and what and whatever. A few people were backing Gladbach, so that kind of made me think, oh well, Gladbach or draw is a good bet. It turned out it did, and they got hammered. So yeah, and then the bet builder was very unlucky in the Villa game. I had like Watkins to score and stuff, and I had a player to get booked, all up. But 3 cards is what beat it. Only had 1 card, so I needed 3 more, which is a lot. But looking at that, and I said this to someone on Twitter, that referee averages 4 a game. So he was very, very under his average that week. There was some tackles it could have been, but look, it is what it is. So yeah, that's last week. Stats-wise, so stats were pretty decent, especially for overs on both the scores, so I'll get to them now. So the amount of games were slightly different because there was some postponed games in some of the lower leagues. So Premier League was 10, Championship was 11, League 1 was 12, League 2 was 11, National League was 10, National League North was 10, National League South was 12. So that was only 76 games, which is a good bit less than what it's been when there's a full fixture list. So anyway, Premier League, 7 favourites, 2 draws, 1 outsider. Championship, 8 favourites, 2 draws, 1 outsider. League 1, 3 favourites, 4 draws, 5 outsiders. League 2, 3 favourites, 4 draws, 4 outsiders. National League, 5 favourites, 2 draws, 3 outsiders. National League North, 7 favourites, no draws, and 3 outsiders. And the National League South, 5 favourites, 4 draws, and 3 outsiders. So in total, out of 76 games, 38 favourites won, which was exactly 50%. But if you look at that, it's kind of like 3 of the leagues, the Premier League, the Championship, and the National League North were all above 50% of the games in that league. Whereas there was, only 3 in League 1, 3 in League 2. It's very, very low when there's 11 and 12 games. So only a third there, basically, or a quarter, sorry, of the favourites winning. I'll go on to the overs and then both the score. So Premier League, 9 overs. 9 games were over, 1 wasn't. 6 games both to score and 4 no. Championship, 5 over, 6 not, and 6 both to score and 5 not. League 1, 4 over, 8 not, 5 both to score and 7 not. League 2, 8 over, 3 not, and 9 both to score and 2 not. National League, 8 over, 2 not, and 9 both to score, 1 not. National League North, 5 over, 5 not, and 3 both to score, 7 not. National League South, 6 over, 6 not, and 8 both to score, 4 not. So that worked out at, for overs, 45 over and 31 not over, which was 59%. Pretty big numbers. I mean, there's a lot of big numbers in there. There's a 9 in there, there's an 8 in, 2 8s in there, there's a 6, so even in the Championship, 5 out of 11, around 50%. So 59% is pretty good. So there probably was an overs bet out there that I missed with mine. And then both to score was 60% because it was 46 games and 30 not. So just that wee extra game pumped the percentage up. So 60% of games were both to score at the weekend, which is pretty high. So yeah, look, that's last week. I'm going to get into this week, the bet. Sorry, 2 bets. I'll read this bet out, then I'll come back for some reasons. So the first team is Newcastle. Newcastle are away to Wolves. They're 8-11, or they were 8-11 when I placed the bet, which is 1.73. Next, Middlesbrough, home to Stoke, 3-4. That's 1.75. Barnsley, home to Fleetwood, 4-5. That's 1.8. Doncaster at home to Grimsby, 5-4, 2.25. Chesterfield away to Kidderminster, 8-13, that's 1.62. And in total, that comes to 18-1. So it's a big bet this week. It's paying 190. But I'm happy with all 5 selections, so I wasn't going to take one out. Right, so we'll come back now. Let's look at some reasons. Premier League. So Newcastle, it's a 5:30 game, so I'll have to wait on it, and there may be a cash out option on that one by that stage. So looking at the league table, Newcastle obviously doing well. Wolves are in decent form. Look, this isn't a gimme game, because Wolves are 12th, and I've backed Wolves to go down, but they've started well since Gary O'Neill's took over. But Newcastle currently 6th. Wolves are 12th. There's only 5-point difference, which is pretty good for Wolves. Newcastle got 13 points out of 15, so they've won 4, draw 1. Wolves is 2-2 and 1, so 2 wins, 2 draws, and 1. When I go into recent form and I look at the home and away sort of stuff, Wolves' record's kind of patchy. Draw, win, loss, so not great. And to be fair, Newcastle's away record isn't great either. A couple of draws, a win, a couple of defeats, but the Champions League games in there as well. But I just think Newcastle, this is a game where they had a game in midweek. They get beat by Dortmund. They'll be looking to bounce back, and they just got a bigger squad now. Obviously, that Italian guy was Chernoli, whatever you call him. he's banned, but they've got a good midfield anyway. So that's the first selection. Next, Middlesbrough. And look, Middlesbrough have been on a hot streak. I think they've won a load of games in a row. I'll show you here in a minute. So they've actually won 4 in a row. And again, I back Middlesbrough to finish in the playoffs, and they're currently level with West Brom, but they're 3 places below. But they're currently, say, 9th, 20 points. Stoke on 16 points. Only 4 points. The championship is very, very tight. Very tight. You know, if 20 points is West Brom, who are currently sitting 6th, you can go down to 21st, which is just above the relegation, and it's only a 6-point swing. It's only 6-point difference. Crazy, the championship. But Middlesbrough, if we're going to sort of home and away and stuff, last 3 home games of win, all 3 of them. 1-0, 2-0, 2-1. They lost the game before that against QPR, and they drew the game before that. Stokes away record, very patchy. Lost the last game against Leicester. They won against Bristol City. Lost before that, drew before that, lost before that. So just thinking Middlesbrough's recent form, the fact that they're sort of flying at the minute, should be enough there. Next we'll go on to Barnsley. Say Barnsley are at home to Fleetwood. I think Barnsley are top of the league, are they? Let me just double check here. Sorry, no, they're 3rd. A couple of points off Portsmouth, who are flying too. Unbeaten Portsmouth. When I go into recent form, they're actually not far apart. So Barnsley 10th and Fleetwood 8th in form. But with this one, looking at the recent record, so just last 5 games, home or away, Barnsley have won 3, drew 1 and 1 defeat, whereas Fleetwood have 3 defeats and 2 wins. They did win their last game away from home. And Barnsley's home form, 3 wins and 2 defeats out of 5. Fleetwood's away record, 2 defeats, a draw, and 2 wins. So I don't know. I just think home form on that one is my reason. Next, Doncaster. Where's Doncaster? Yeah, Doncaster at home to Grimsby. Now this is the biggest price on it, at 5-4. So my thinking here is they're both down the bottom of the league, right? So 18th and 20th, they're only 3 points away from each other. Doncaster are 9 points out of the last 15. Grimsby only 4. In home form, Doncaster have pretty good home form. 3 wins, 1 draw, 1 defeat. Grimsby, no wins away from home, 2 draws, 3 defeats. And then when I go into sort of recent form, let's see. So Doncaster had won 4 games in a row at home until they lost to Salford in their last home game. So they had 4 wins in a row, whereas Doncaster haven't won in 5 away from home. Doncaster have good home form. 1-4, and Grimsby have 3 defeats and 2 draws in their last 5 away. So, you know, just thinking there, even though they're both down the bottom of the league, Doncaster seem to have a good home record. Lastly, then down in the National League, Chesterfield, who I think are top. The only reason they are this price is that obviously Kidderminster are sitting doing well in the league. So yeah, so they're 3 points clear. Chesterfield at the top of the National League, and Kidderminster are way down there in 22nd, right in the relegation zone. But I think when I checked this form, yeah, Kidderminster are like 10th mid-table in form, and Chesterfield are 2nd in form, 13 points. But Chesterfield, their away record, the best away record in the league, and Kidderminster's home form isn't great. Recent form, Kidderminster at home, they've won 2 in a row, so maybe this is why the price is slightly decent for Chesterfield, because I would expect, I've got them in 8-13. I would expect that had been a 1-2 or 2-5 game for a team that's top against a team in the relegation zone. But out of the last 5 away, Chesterfield have 4 wins and a draw. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking with M5. I'd say it pays 18-1. You may be able to leave one out yourself and take a bit of a lesser thing if that's what you want to do, but that's what I'm going with. Bet's placed already. As I said, I've had this ready since Wednesday, so the bet's been placed since Wednesday. On to the overs. I'll just run through these quickly. So Bournemouth Burnley 4-5, that's 1.8. Charlton Bolton 9-10, that's 1.9. Oxford Wickham 17-20, which is around 1.85, I think. Might have forgot to change that. Harrogate Crew 8-11, which is 1.73. And York versus Halifax 9-10, that's 1.9. So that one's 17-1. So decent amount back on that too, just under 100. So that's the two bets. Looking at next midweek, it's a lot of cups going on. So there is some league games, but I'm not sure what I'll do bet-wise next week. In League 1 there's 4 games. League 2 there's a game. Nice in League North 2 games. Nice in League South 1 game. There's 2 games in the EFL Cup. 4 games in the EFL Trophy. There's 8 games in the German Cup, 3 games in the Italian Cup, and 12 games in the Dutch Cup. There's also an SPL game and a Scottish League Cup, I think it is, 3 games, and La Liga, Copa del Rey, there's 5 games. Now, a lot of these may be against really lower teams, so you're not going to get great odds, but I'm just sort of saying what games are available. And the league games are probably teams who have had games postponed or whatever, and they're just making them up in what is a free week. So Wednesday is 1 League 1 game, 6 EFL Cup, 8 German Cup, 3 Italian Cup, 10 Dutch Cup, 5 games in the SPL, and then 41 games, I think that is there, in the Copa del Rey. So that tells you that it is going to be all these, territorial teams in Spain. Then Thursday, 9 games in the Italian Cup, 9 games in Copa del Rey, 2 games in the Italian Cup, and 1 game in the Dutch Cup. So I'm not sure, how much I'm going to be touching midweek next week. But, yeah, look, that's basically it. This week was, I apologise again about the late episode. As I said, I've had all the stats and everything done. Oh, I'm tired. Since Wednesday. We just haven't had, I know it only takes 15 minutes to record, but I literally haven't had 15 minutes. So look, I'll get this out straight away, and I'll get back to business next week, trying to get it out on a Wednesday. So yeah, just leaves all me to say is if you are doing a bet, good luck and happy punting.
Here, get the fuck out of here. Here, thanks. Let me find out you fucked up. I'll leave you wherever I find you.